that's interesting. Of course, Michael Danby, as you know, General Jack Keane, who's a confidant of President Trump, assured me on this show last week that there will be almost certainly a war. The US will strike. It's preparing the ground. What's at stake here?
It's reassuring that someone who you and I respect so much, like Keane, has got an inside track with the Donald and one of the more sensible advisors to him. So if he's saying that, look, Khomeini's in hiding. His son is doing the liaison with the SS of the regime, the IRGC, the bitter enders, who will probably end up running the place if the headquarters are attacked. But I want to echo Michael's words. If Iran becomes even a benign state, even if it's a dictatorship that is not interfering all around the Middle East, even if it restores water to its own people and its economy, the world will be a better place. Imagine we don't have the last 50 years of this outrageous regime that even comes to Australia and blows up synagogues around the corner from me, using criminals here. The world must be a better place. I echo Kroger's words, and I hope that the Donald isn't just all talk. He promised the Iranians a lot, and let's hope that it happens.
Michael Danby, let me stick with you just for a second. I'm out of time. Just got to ask you, Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, has sacked now his top general, the very top general. This comes after he sacked the defense minister, he's sacked other top generals, he's sacked the heads of his rocket unit of the army, and he's accused this general, I mean, it's like a show trial in Stalin's Russia, of betraying nuclear secrets to America, running a sort of shadow oppositional group within China. Wow, what is going on there?
This is the biggest purge in the Chinese military since the Cultural Revolution, and the importance for Australia and for the rest of the world is that all the operational heads of the Chinese army have been taken out of action by Xi Jinping, and he's got some polytruk, some political apparatchik now in charge of the Chinese army, which means I hope that they are less capable of invading Taiwan. So confusion to our enemies, as they say.
Well, it sounds like more instability there than perhaps we thought under Xi Jinping. Very interesting. Michael Kroger, thank you so much for coming to us down the line from Israel. Great insights. Michael Danby, thank you very much.
The other issue I do want to ask you about, and it's gone off the radar a little bit in the last little while in terms of Australian news, but it's that protest in Iran, protest right across that country. Has that regime, with another brutal crackdown, shut another potential uprising?
Look, I think you'll find that the US at some point will take some form of action against the regime. They're shifting a whole carrier group, the USS Abraham Lincoln, along with 3 destroyers, support vessels, and presumably a covert submarine screen. So they're deploying a lot more effort there. Plus, they've got around 15 bases around there and Israel to draw on as well. You don't shift that much hardware to a region for too long without having to use it or lose it. So I do think there'll be some form of response. Exactly what that looks like will depend on how far the regime goes. But that regime is a brutal regime. It is able to go for long periods repressing demonstrations and protests. How long? Time will tell.
Yeah, indeed. And those regimes, you don't know, do you, when they're about to be toppled.
And suddenly they can just go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just a tipping point and then they're gone, and maybe the US can help facilitate that, which is a really interesting thing from Trump. So on the international stage, you've got moments where people are really asking what is he doing, and then others where he's unpredictability is actually a good thing.
Yeah,
like in this.
he definitely likes keeping people off balance. There's no doubt about that. Unfortunately, that includes friends, partners and allies that he keeps off balance. And Canada's Prime Minister gave a very powerful speech at Davos pointing out that this may be the time we've gone one step too far with the way he's treated Europe, the way he's looking at Greenland, and it has led to a rupture in a long-standing arrangement.
Security and international affairs expert Mark Watson, ASPI external contributor. Mark, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
So you genuinely think that the Iranian regime is on its last legs because they have cracked down hard again on this protests? We are seeing just the most shocking footage come out of Iran of young girls being slaughtered on the streets trying to run away from security forces. Do you see that uprising is going to continue despite the numbers that have been slaughtered?
I think the scale of the killing, Rita, tells me that that is a zombie regime. There's no question. They've murdered tens of thousands, wounded 330,000. People are losing their eyes, maybe using chemical weapons, military artillery. That regime is on its last legs. And the West and United States will tip it out of power. Maybe it will be replaced by a secular military, and then the Iranian people, the opposition is in prison. There is the crown prince in the West who may be a transitional figure. They need to then take over that enormous country. But to come back, we cannot abandon the Kurds. They're not only our allies, they share our values. We can't see ISIS extremists on the loose in Syria again perpetrating a Yazidi genocide. The American policy cannot be to finish what ISIS couldn't. They wanted to erase these minorities, to finish what Assad couldn't, which wanted to erase so many of Syria's beautiful pluralism. That's the crisis that the world has to focus on. And we cannot let Kobani fall to the ISIS jihadists.
James.
Well, Quanta, I hear what you're saying about Syria. I mean, I've traveled to Syria in the mid-1990s, and I know exactly the sort of pluralism that you're talking about and how that was protected essentially by the Assad regime. But back to Iran, I'm really concerned about what comes next, because you've got these different groups. You've got the MEK, which seems like some terrible fusion of Marxism and Islamism as one potential option here. I know they've been lobbying very hard in Washington at the moment. I've seen some figures coming out, even in the conservative circles, and supporting them. Are you concerned that you're going to lose the mullahs, which would be fantastic for the world, but wind up with something, you know, governing this country? Because it's not just people in the city, it's people in the country. It's a big population, and I can't imagine that, you know, they're all on the same page about what comes next.
There is a huge risk, and that's why it's a tremendous gamble. President Trump can't afford just a cosmetic strike, because he will lose so much credibility globally, and he owes it to the Iranian people, for whom he's been one beacon of hope. Second, the number of mosques. Tehran itself reported a week ago 350 mosques were set fire by the Iranian people. They have had it with theocracy. They are, whether most of them are Muslim, most of them are Shia Muslim, they don't want religion forced on them in this totalitarian manner. So that is hopeful. If the West can help them, this new Iran could become pro-Western. And the overarching goal is to denuclearize Iran. That is going to happen. The mullahs are toast. And now what happens next is up to the Iranians, but it could be more supercharged and chaotic than the Syrian civil war. It's a huge country.